one of the teachers comes up in the middle. I think there's an emergency going on because he's running down and he's like, all right, that's enough. All right, that's enough. You're done. And I was like, whoa, was that really the line that I just crossed there?
Jeremiah Watkins is here. I mean, this dude is knocking up his wife left and right.
I mean, power to you. Look at you, daddy.
Daddy! He got a new special out called Daddy. We'll get to that in a second. Yes. But, man, how are you dealing? Because I got 2 kids. How are you dealing with being a father, bro?
Yeah, well, I love the tone of that question. How are you dealing with being a father? Well, I don't have number 2 yet, so I'm a little bit scared by the tone in your voice since you have 2.
Let me tell you something. 1, so easy. 2, my friend gave me a piece of advice, and I'm gonna pass this knowledge on to you.
Please.
After you have 2, you can have 10. There's no difference. Because
that's what I've heard from multiple fathers. Yeah.
Because you're always up. They wake up at different times. They have their own agenda. One's sad, one's happy. It's great though.
Okay.
So I'm getting my tubes tied next week.
No, but it's great. I absolutely love it. It makes it all worth it when one of them comes up to you and tells you they love you and things like that. But yeah. I'm telling you, sometimes when like it gets really busy, I look at my son because once they hit like 5 or 6, they know not to run into the street. They can sit on the couch without falling off of it, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's where you want to be, you know? They can do
right. Yeah. My son is he's entering his wrestling years already. When I'm lying on my back on the floor, he'll run and he's like laying out entirely and dying laughing when he lands on my chest. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's just about to be 2.
Oh, yeah. Just wait till you get one to like 5 or 6. Dude, it's so awesome because you just can leave him on the couch.
Yeah, you just let him.
And then do housework or whatever you got to do. And they'll call you when they need something. Daddy, I need a water. Daddy, and you get up. And it's great. So great. So great.
Now I know what to do as a dad who's aimlessly wandering, trying to figure it out. It's nice when they're like, I need this. It's like, okay, awesome. I can do that.
Can I tell you another awesome thing? Is my son's at the age where I can say, go get something, and he'll go get it.
Ooh.
It's beautiful.
That means chores can start happening now.
Oh, yeah.
You can be like, go wash those dishes, Oliver.
Yeah. I left the remote across the room. I was like, go get the remote. He was like, okay, Daddy. It was like
servant now.
I'm a servant. Let's talk about
I'm training my son now. It's a big deal when we take out the trash now.
Oh,
it's exciting. Where I'm like, do you want to go take out trash? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I've got him right where I want.
Yes. No, my best friend, her son loves trash cans. His second birthday party, there was trash cans on the cake. She had entertainment. He just wanted to play with the trash cans on the beach the whole time. It was like, we should have just done that.
What's the similarities between you and your son? Like the one thing that sticks out the most, like your parents would be like, "Oh, you were like this," and your son is like that.
He eats a lot and he eats everything.
Really,
like
not a picky eater.
Yeah, not a picky. Like he'll. One thing that I hope that he actually corrects is he'll eat stuff even if he doesn't like it to please whoever's giving it to him. Aww. So he'll be like. He's like almost gagging on food while he's like, yeah, it's good.
What? Can he come over whenever I cook dinner?
Right?
No.
Yeah.
My son will not eat anything. He eats
Nothing?
oatmeal. He'll eat rice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's about it?
That's about it. And soup. Some type of weird soup my wife makes. That's it. That's it.
Wow.
So
yeah, he likes spicy food, and he'll be eating like like the Trader Joe's Takis, and his tongue is like all red, but he'll keep coughing and going back to it, which I'm addicted to spicy stuff too.
Oh, see, there you go. See,
there it is.
I'm good with spicy to a certain level, but then I can't. I'm
not an overachiever when it comes to spice. I could do medium.
The age I'm at right now, I get a lot of heartburn if I eat hot stuff.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
It's because you're old.
look,
Sorry, what?
look, shut up. Jeremiah, this is our first time actually talking. I've known your name.
Yeah.
I've seen all the funny stuff you do. So first of all, virtually, it's so nice to meet you.
Dude, same to you. It's so weird the age that we're in. I feel like I've known you forever, dude.
Me too.
But like we've literally passed in between shows and stuff like that, like at the Ice House or the
Yep.
store, the Improv, whatever. But it's always like, hey, what's up, man? Like just like real quick. But like, yeah, this is the longest conversation we've already had.
100%. And that's the beauty of being a comedian is there's this, you know, everybody talks about this family type of vibe. And, you know, like I feel like I know you. I've seen a lot of your work, vice versa. And that's what I love about the brotherhood or sisterhood or what the hood of comedy. You know what I mean? But how'd you get started? Since this is our first time actually talking, how'd you get started in the comedy world?
Sure, yeah. I moved out to Los Angeles in 2009, and that's when I started doing comedy, like pursuing it properly. I was doing improv back in like high school and college and stuff like that back in Kansas City, but had never gotten up on stage to do stand up. I grew up like doing plays and theater like in school and stuff like that. And was always like a musical kid and did a bunch of like short films and sketches. So I was kind of piecing together comedically like what I was liking and what I wanted to do. But I started stand up in LA in 2010, the beginning of 2010. That's when I started doing stand up.
That's around the time I started. I started 2011. How was the landscape for you coming in? Because it was weird that I remember at that time, if you were kind of a performer, comedians didn't like
it wasn't
that
cool
at that time. Because I remember.
Nope.
What were you going to say, Jeremiah?
I mean, I would do well with crowds, but I was not a comic by any means.
Yes. Now, do you feel
I never was.
Do you feel like you're a comic now, or just because you have a big podcast, you're a comic?
Now everyone just wants to be your friend because you're cool.
Oh, we always loved you. I think.
Yeah, we never talk shit about you.
I think I'm slightly a little bit more of a comic now, but still, I wouldn't consider myself a comic.
Now,
I think that the people who see me like late night at the store like what I do because I improvise a lot of those sets and I riff heavily, so that's something different. So I think that sometimes comics will like to watch that, but I've never thought of myself, or I don't think been referred to as a comic.
Now,
can I ask?
Go ahead.
Do you think doing Kill Tony and Roast Battle gave you a little more street cred? Like made you a little more of a comic, or did that alienate you more?
No, that definitely helped for sure because those are both shows that if you can survive doing, then it's then people are like, oh, okay, well, if he's surrounding himself with these kind of comics and other people are kind of hopping on board, then I think it does give you quote unquote cred, you know.
How important was it? I mean, because we're all looking for a break, right? As a comic, you know, what's that next thing to just get? Because let's be honest, everybody's funny at the store or different places. Now it's all about exposure. That's all comedy is. It's like American Idol. You know, a lot of people can sing, but if you get the right exposure, you blow up, right?
Yeah.
What was the one thing you felt like kind of put you over the top where it's like, now you're getting exposure. I mean, we're all trying to still grow, but the one thing, your first big pop, what was that?
Ooh, I was doing something for a while, and literally over the years, I've actually tried to truncate the amount of shows that I was doing because I was a part of ensemble cast on multiple shows that were thriving in Los Angeles at the time, and really around all that was going on. This is kind of a crazy amount of shows whenever I spell it out like this, but it was Roast Battle, Kill Tony, the goddamn Comedy Jam. I was doing my own show, Stand Up on the Spot, which was getting a little bit of heat on and around town. And I was also doing like a like a music act, a music duo with my buddy Pat Reagan called Reagan and Watkins for a bit, and I was doing a midnight show at the Improv called Midnight Snack. I was doing all these shows at the same time for a few years, and that's when I feel like people started looking at me like, oh, this is a guy, this is like a Renaissance kind of guy of comedy. He can kind of fill in and support wherever he needs to, which was great. That's how I met a lot of the headliners and stuff that I've developed relationships and become friends with over the years, and people who vouched for me at the different clubs and stuff like that, and going on the road, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like all of those together were really good, just to show like, oh, this dude like can hold his own. He's funny in different contexts, but over the years, I felt like it was actually a little bit too much, where it becomes white noise after a while, because it's like, well, what does this guy do though exactly? And that's why I'm more focused like on my personal projects now, like stand up on the spot and my actual stand up and putting out the special.
Do you feel, because I remember I had a conversation with a really big comedian, because I was starting in LA to promote shows and do my own shows, but more of a promoter where I would just be on the lineup and I would invite some big comedians. And he goes, you don't ever, as a stand-up, you don't want to ever be known as a promoter. Did that ever go through your head? Because people won't see you as a headliner, and they'll always see you as a guy that just throws shows. Does that make any sense to you or no?
Oh, no. That happens to a lot of people, I think. I never struggled with the promoter thing, because what nipped that in the bud real quick is I think promoters sometimes trade spots on shows. And I never did that. And it pissed off a lot of people when I would just be like, I'm not into booking you. I'm not.
I mean, there you go. Yeah.
I'm like, I'd be polite. I'm like, keep you in mind, but like, I just flat out say I do not trade spots. I said, if you want to book me because you think I'm funny and I deserve the spot, I will gladly do your show. But if you're expecting a spot on my show, I don't trade spots. And that rubbed a lot of bookers the wrong way, and I didn't do their shows for many years. So I had to get funny and get booked just off of being funny and not off of like trading.
Do you feel that sometimes you go through that with your podcast, since it has a significant audience?
Maybe I think over the years you get a vibe pretty quickly of who is wanting or expecting certain things, rather than just booking you to book you out of like, oh, I like you, I think you're funny, I think you'd be a good fit for the show.
Got you.
I think you get a sense of that over the years, where you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll skip this one, or maybe this isn't the best fit, whatever.
What do you think was the like best way for you to find your voice? Like to start doing most of your own stuff and like kind of move away from doing all those big shows over and over again?
I think that it became, what was the nudge was I kept having comics that would that I respected that would come up to me that were asking questions about the other shows, but it wasn't about my stand-up. And that started to kind of eat at me a little bit. I'm like, I want to change the narrative a little bit. Otherwise, I'll always be somebody's wingman or somebody supporting somebody else, and they won't look at me as the guy. It'll always be that guy next door.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Do you remember? I love the one thing I love about you is I love crowd work, because I'm terrible at crowd work. Like when I say I'm horrendous at it. I don't even try it.
I am shocked by that. You've spent your life interviewing people and talking to people.
But I guess I just don't know how to do it, because I watch people like Jeremiah. I watch people like,
you're flawless.
Joe Coy is amazing crowd work. Beast. I mean, there's Ian Bagg. I mean, there's so many people that can like do killer crowd work. And I guess I need advice. How do you start with that? Like, how do you start? Because I would believe all you got to do is keep working at it, even if you suck at it, because you'll get better, right?
I did a bunch of bad bar shows.
There it is.
I did a bunch of bad, like they were rough, where it was one of my favorite rooms that no longer exists. It was this room. I bet you remember this room, guys, Westwood Brewing Company. Do you remember that room?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they had a Friday night show there that basically, if you ate it as a comic in this room, the whole room would clear out.
Yes.
The audience would leave. So,
yes.
The audience would just get up. It was a free show. They're like, this sucks.
I'm
We're all
out.
gone. It was college kids. They're like, oh, I don't have time to waste. I got to go get wasted or dance or go do karaoke.
And then there's music outside the room. I mean, there's a big party going on outside the room. So
right outside the window. So
right outside the window.
The FOMO is real constantly.
Sounds like the
People
parlor.
are wondering. Yeah. So it was that element of if you didn't kill, then you were letting down all the comics around you because you lost the audience. And then you'd have to go out and bark outside to try to corral more people to come inside. And I got good at crowd work at places like that where the stakes were high and I would be interacting with the crowds. And I'm like, I got to figure out a way to get to the funny faster because you would see people start to leave the room if it wasn't going well in real time.
Oh my God.
That
so stressful.
I remember that room. I mean, that was like the craziest. I did it like 3 times and I just remember like as a comic, you're facing the window where you're seeing everything going on outside, like a big party, like a big frat party.
You're like, I want to be outside.
You're like, what am I doing?
I don't believe you.
And people are watching you, and if you lose, and they start like turning around, they just bounce.
God.
Oh, some of the worst bombs I've had are at the Comedy Store late night when you can see through the window outside. And you see the people are having a better time than your audience is. And you're like, oh no, like they could easily be doing that. Like, I got to fix this.
Yeah.
When's the last time you bombed? Like bombed? Your most memorable bomb ever. I have one that I'll never forget.
Oof. I mean, I had a rough one last night. Just even last night, that's what's so grounding about stand-up comedy. You can be like hitting so well, but like I'd have to ask a couple to be bounced out of there. They would not shut up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I kept trying to get off stage and I'm like, I'm trying to set up this next comic so I can get off. And I had to bounce them. But I had this bomb where, I got, long story short, I've shared it on some podcasts before, but long story short, I did a corporate gig where they didn't like the material that I was doing, and they got me pulled off stage. I was supposed to do 45 minutes, and I did 12. That to me is a pretty freaking bad bomb.
And how did they get you off stage?
Yeah, what happened?
It was for a group of kids at this middle school.
Jeremiah.
Yep. And one of the teachers comes up in the middle. I think there's an emergency going on because he's running down and he's like, all right, that's enough. All right, that's enough. You're done. And I was like, whoa, was that really the line that I just crossed there? Because I was telling kind of innocuous, like, innuendo type jokes. Something that you'd see in a PG movie like Shrek or something like that. Disney does it all the time. Pixar is so known for it. DreamWorks like sprinkles it everywhere where I'm like, I can get away with this. This was a religious school that I was doing this corporate event for.
Oh my God.
And they shut it down. And I tried to dig myself out. I was like, no, I got this. I did 3 or 4 more minutes. They heard another word that they didn't like. And the manager in the back of the room, he goes, like, you're done. Like they got the manager involved and I had to get off.
How far along in your comedy career was this? At the beginning, middle, or just like last week?
Yeah.
This was literally in 2022.
Wow.
Did they still pay you?
Yes, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. But I'm so competitive, it still felt like I took an L.
You did.
Yeah.
You did take like I remember.
Like it's not a good feeling. Like I'm like at the core of everything, you still want to put on a good show for the audience, but the kids were liking it, but the adults were like, this is too much. And I was like, I'm really not saying anything insane, but I think because it was a religious school, they were a little bit more hypersensitive with certain things.
I have a similar experience, except mine was at a college where like I'm probably a lot older than you. And I was just not I was, after you do a bunch of college, you're just over it. And I didn't want to do colleges anymore. And I remember, and all I was talking about, I just got engaged. So and I'm talking about getting
They don't
engaged.
care.
And I wasn't into them. They weren't into me. I remember a kid raising their hand in the back of the room. I go, yes. He goes, so when are you going to start being funny?
Yeesh.
And I go, you know what? You're right. And then I got through that show. I made them laugh the rest because I was just auto crew. But then I literally quit at NACA when a kid said they booked Eliza, and she goes, after we book Eliza, if we have enough money, we'll book you too. And I literally thought to myself, and this is when I was doing on TV, entertainment news and all that stuff. I literally said, my life is in a 17-year-old's hand. I can't let that ever happen.
Yeah.
So I'm letting a 17-year-old decide my value. And I said, I quit right on the spot.
Wow.
So that was my big moment where it's like, no, I'm not doing colleges. I'm doing real comedy now, like just comedy clubs.
I've got a Nightmare NACA story.
Oh, please tell.
Oof.
Please tell.
So when I was doing this music duo with Pat Reagan, we were getting booked everywhere. It was I would play sax, he'd play guitar, and we would harmonize. It was very much like a Tenacious D kind of act.
Yeah.
And we were great. We had a lot of bits and a lot of sets that are still some of my best sets in comedy, because when you elevate comedy with music, it becomes something even bigger than a dude with a mic or a woman with a mic. It's just one of those things where it transcends the art form, where people are like, where can I see you next? This was incredible. Where if you get that doing stand-up, then you really had to kill, like where people are like clamoring to see you. They want to see you again right after they just saw you. We did NACA, the big college convention, for those of you who aren't aware of this, where colleges come from all over to pick the different comedians and performers that they want to bring out with their school's money to their show, to their campus. We had a great set, and we were in our booth afterwards, and all these kids are coming up to us telling us that they're going to book us. They loved us. We blew up 100 inflatable saxophones to give out to these college kids with our stickers on it. We had trash bags full of saxophones that we were coming in and giving them out, and we booked 0 colleges.
What?
0. After multiple people told us to our face that they committed to us, and then the next day our agent's like, I don't know what happened. You got none.
Oh.
Wow.
And
no feedback?
And I didn't do NAC after that. I'm like, I'm good. Like
No.
Wait.
it's like why like when you're relying on college kids
that's
to
tough.
determine your livelihood, I felt like I did something terribly wrong in my life where I got to this point.
I can't.
And some people thrive in it. Don't get me wrong. Some people make a killing with colleges, but me just having the thought that a 17-year-old child,
That's not cool.
that to me, no.
I did a corporate gig yesterday and the day before, and I thought I was bombing it. It was 7,000 car dealers. So picture just a room of 7,000 like dudes and like 10 women. And I could not get them until I started roasting them. Like until I just started kind of really talking shit about the company.
No, that's what it is.
It was like that was and then they came up, they're like, oh yeah, you're kind of funny. And I was just like, oh my God. I mean,
well, that's the thing. That's what I love about Jeremiah is the crowd work, because the crowd work.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about Joe Coy is I toured with him for 2 years. The audience feels like they see a different show every show as long as you do a lot of crowd work.
Yeah.
And you can have the same material. Go ahead.
That's what I tell people who come see me over the weekend. I'm like, if you want to see 2 shows, you're more than welcome to, because they're going to be different. Like I go in and out of material, and I'll be riffing with the crowd and doing crowd work and different stuff. Every show is very different from the next. The material might be a little bit of the same, but I even try to slide out different material over the weekend just in case somebody wants to see a couple of shows.
Okay, an hour set. How much crowd work do you think, minute-wise, do you do in an hour set? Or 45 minutes?
It depends. I always do the hour when I go on the road. I'll have like the host do 10 and then the feature will do 20 and then I'll close out with an hour.
Yeah.
When I'm doing that, it all depends on how silly the crowd is and how willing they are to go with my silliness.
Yes.
If I'm feeling it, I might riff for a long chunk of the set. But if it's more of a traditional crowd, it might be more like a 45-15 or a 50-10
Got you.
crowd work to material.
But
the material will outweigh it when they're not like, when they're more like, we just want jokes. I'm like, okay, I got jokes. That's fine.
That's
so
great.
I start my sets with new jokes because I'm like, if I can make them laugh with new jokes for like 10 to 15 minutes, then once I get into material, I know I can close out strong. So and a lot of people are like, well, why would you want to start with stuff you don't know it works? I would never go up there with stuff I know that doesn't work. At least I know it works a little. And then, because you got to grow from there. But I also know the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes is going to be killer.
You're tight.
All right. I want to talk about Daddy.
Wait, Jeremiah, can you just say something for me? Can you say, feed me, Daddy, please?
Feed me, Daddy.
Yes. Oh, I love that joke.
Feed me, Daddy.
So good.
So now what did you, a lot of comics like myself, we're doing 30-minute specials now because it's all about clips. What made you want to do like an hour?
Some of this material I've been doing for a while, and I knew that I wanted to do just the traditional hour and just put it out there because I knew that I was going to do some crowd work in the special because I wanted to showcase what I do on the road. And that show that I put together for the special, that's a good representation of me going in and out of material and what it would be like to see me headlining on a show. So I wanted to give people an example like, hey, if you like this hour, if you really like it, like this is what I do on the road. And sometimes I even do more crowd work or more material. It doesn't matter, but it's different every night. So I wanted to do the hour also to force myself to create more material to work on that next batch, whether it's a 30 or an hour, whatever direction, we end up going with for the next time I do a special. I've been doing some of those jokes, and some of those jokes it was time for me to say goodbye to. They've been working for a long time, and I'm like, I want my next batch of jokes to get this strong, so I got to release them, and then it'll force me to work on the next hour.
Now, how's it feel to, because I did one special with a company, and my last special I did on my own, and I put it out, I funded it, put it out on my own. And I have full control. It must, I would imagine you have full control of this special. Like you put it out yourself.
Do.
And how's that feel, like knowing that every decision, when time comes after a year and a half, you could distribute it, put it out to other market, put it out to different people. How's that feel to have all the control in your hands? Because I feel like comedians now, we're like, we would all love Netflix, but now you don't need it necessarily.
Right. No, it feels good. I mean, there's definitely, as you can attest to this, I'm sure, there's a little bit of a stress that goes along with it because there's a responsibility for you to really put yourself out there and really make it work where you're not relying on an outside entity to kind of help support you. But at the end of the day, it is mine 100%. I can do whatever I want with it, and it feels good. And I think there's also something with comics that we are rooting for each other, sometimes even a little bit more when they know that there's more at stake.
Yes.
When somebody is self-producing
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I hit you up and you were kind enough to be like immediately you're like, I got you. Like I'll have you on to help promote the special. And like you said, we've literally we've known each other adjacently and we have like a lot of mutual friends, but you knew that I was self-producing the special and putting it out. You're like, I've been there, bro. I got you.
100%. Because I mean, you got to help each other out, because I feel like here's what I love about comedy today. And it's because of podcasting. When I first started comedy just 12 years ago, it was very competitive, as in if one person got ahead, that means everybody else got left behind.
Yeah.
And then when podcasting happened, even though it's cliquish, don't get me wrong, it is cliquish. It's people got their clicks, But at least comics were like, oh, I need other comics to make this successful. And that became comics helping other comics. And now when comics come out with specials, comics help with that, because now we're more in the, oh, I'm gonna help you out because you helped me out on my podcast.
And there's a spot for everyone. I feel like you have to be such an individual, and it doesn't matter. Like, if you're doing well, it doesn't mean I can't do well.
Well, but when and I'm only been in it 12 years, but that wasn't like that.
No, at the beginning it was not like that.
Because I remember Joe Coy was my mentor. I remember people making fun of him because he used to sing at the end of his shows, and they were going, that's not comedy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But every show I went to, he would leave with a standing ovation. And I'm like, and now he's selling out stadiums. So there you go.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think comics can sometimes, if you playing to the back of the room is a term that we call, you're just playing for the comics who are watching in the very back of the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that a little bit, but if you do that too much, it can be a huge, huge detriment to your career, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
If you're just so worried about making those guys in the or girls in the back laugh, we have weird, warped senses of humor.
Yeah.
We are not America.
No.
We are not the people who are going to be consuming it on the masses. So why cater to just those voices in the back? It never made sense to me
because Jeremiah, I tell you, I've never had a comic buy a ticket to my show.
Absolutely not. No, I remember I started out, I had a big booker. I used to rap at the end of my set, and that's what everyone loved. And they were like, yeah, comedians don't do that. Like, that's not comedy.
But back then, it was like that.
It just wasn't accepted.
Also, if you go back to the 60s and 70s, there was this whole movement like it was, but like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they did a lot of guitars. A lot of people had guitars. So it's secular. It's secular. It comes back around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So your special, let's talk about your special daddy. Of course, you're a daddy. Your wife, you have this joke about a vibrator. Is she comfortable? Like, because my wife would never, if I caught my wife she would never let me talk about that on stage.
Yeah.
Really?
Where's your wife on this?
That was one of the bits where I was like, when I showed her, I was like, I can take this out if you don't want me, but it's doing pretty well. And
Yeah.
and she watched and she goes, no, leave it in. She goes, I love that bit. She goes, that's great.
Okay.
She goes, you know what? She goes, I think that women will appreciate you putting that bit in the special.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite bits. I want to know, has it taken a while to get to this point with your wife, or has she just always been cool?
She's been cool. The only time where I caught a little bit of heat was we did a benefit show for her company, and all her coworkers were there, and I decided to do some sex jokes about my wife while like a lot of her peers were there. It was like everybody who she worked with, and that was the only time where she's like, "You really decided to go lean in that hard on tonight?" And I was like, it was killing though.
I don't know about you, but like the first time I did a show in front of my husband's parents, I feel like I leaned way more into the bad stuff about him and the sex stuff. And
it's almost like a Band-Aid.
Right?
It's almost relieving. Like when my wife's parents would come see me, I remember very vividly the exact show where I'm like, I'm going to stop caring what I say into the mic when her family comes. And it was very liberating as soon as I did it, because then I was just like, okay, well, it's not even an issue who comes to see me. I'm not censoring myself at all. I'm just doing what I want to do.
Has her parents ever gave notes on a special? Like teasing, but like, it's serious. Like, that was a funny joke about my daughter with the vibrator. Like, have they ever?
No.
Our family dinner's awkward.
No, they're pretty supportive. They get what I'm doing. I'm lucky in that regard, where they're not like weird about like certain jokes or anything. Now, in this next hour, I've got some jokes about them. We'll see how they respond when it's about them.
I have not yet wrote jokes about my in-laws. And I have so many, but I feel like, and I don't care if they come to shows right now to hear my material about their daughter, but it's something about making material about them. I don't think they would appreciate it.
I don't know. You got to sprinkle it in. You got to do it. You got to rip the Band-Aid off. I've started doing jokes about the in-laws, and they actually like it. They kind of like
they're
being
Italian,
roasted.
right?
They
Italians don't care.
Yeah, they have funnier jokes than I do sometimes. They roast us, but still.
White people from Nebraska, I think they care a little bit more.
Maybe run it by them first.
No, I would
No?
never. So what's it? You got the special Daddy on YouTube right now. It's on your channel, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's on your channel.
YouTube.com/Jeremiah Watkins. Yep.
So check that out. You got, I mean, how many? Well, go ahead.
You have the podcast with Bobby Lee's brother. What's the name of it again? Scissor Bros.
Scissor Bros.
Now, please explain to Jack.
Is that the?
She was wondering why'd you call it Scissor Bros. I know.
No,
but she wanted to know why you call it Scissor Bros.
I just wanted to hear the story.
Okay, well, the true origin is rather than blood brothers, how you connect with like a blood pact through hands. We did a pube pact where we trimmed each other's pubes and we became Scissor Bros.
That is one pack. I definitely wouldn't be a part with.
You didn't do that? We did that at the sorority house all the time.
Yeah, was that a thing in the sorority?
No.
What is it? Because you and Steve do a lot of crazy things. What's the craziest thing you've done?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And how much planning goes into it? I feel like you're just hanging out and go, let's do this. And he's like, cool.
Yeah. Do it.
You know what? Towards the beginning, that's kind of how it was. But the longer it goes on, there's a lot of planning that goes into it the longer we do it, because we're trying not to be repetitive with certain challenges that we do. Like at this point, we're about to do our 104th episode. We've done a lot of different spicy challenges. Like we've done probably 4 or 5 at least spicy challenges, but people keep asking for us to do it because it's one of those things where immediately you see results and physically you can see a change. So people just tend to like those.
So what are the spicy things you've eaten?
We've done like the hot chip challenge. We've done we did a hot ones challenge, but the thing that we did with this one that made it gnarly is anytime you watch hot ones, it's always with celebrities who they're wanting to still look cool, if that makes sense. Because 100%. It's a huge platform. So we made the rule that we weren't allowed to wipe our face or noses or eyes.
That's good.
And dude, I just rivers of tears and snot, just like while we're eating like it was so gross.
Wait, give us like top 3. Like, do you have like 3 favorite moments from doing this, or like any we should check out?
I mean, well, we did the hot ones challenge. That was bad. We did this one. There was a Swedish fish challenge that is illegal to ship in into the U.S., but one of our fans shipped it to us. It's called surstrumming. That was one of the worst ones. It exploded all over the garage. It was insane.
What? Please explain this.
It was so fermented in a can. That's why you can't ship it. Is because if it's on a plane, it'll literally ruin the inside of the cargo of a plane. So we opened it, and you're supposed to open it underwater. I opened it out of the water. I didn't watch the YouTube tutorial. It exploded all over my face and Steve's and over the ceiling. Stunk up the garage. The neighbors smelled it. It was a whole ordeal.
Oh,
what's the name of it?
Surstrumming.
Surstrumming.
Yeah, that won't be happening in the Yo household.
You're not here. We're not doing that.
No, like I just talk about celebrity news. Me and Jackie talk. But we need to start doing challenges. Give us a challenge and we'll do it. What's a challenge we should do?
We did a shot collar spelling bee. That was pretty fun.
Ooh,
I like that.
Like you took shots, like shot for shot?
Shock collar.
Oh, shock collar. No. I was like, I would kill that.
Like a dog shock collar. You put it on your neck, and if you get the word wrong,
I like that.
Oh no, I don't.
Oh, we were doing it, Dean. Write that down.
No way.
I could do that.
All right. All right.
Such a baby.
Never. I would never do. I hate pain.
Wait, do you have any advice for Jeremiah? He has a second kid on the way. Like, what's going on?
Run.
Lay it on me.
Run.
Whoa.
Run. But it's going to be the most rewarding, hard, and you know this. You're married. And I tell my wife this. She wants a third, and I said absolutely not. And in the nicest way, I said this to my wife, because it's not about the kid. It's about women go through so much during a pregnancy, taking care of kids. It's more of the guy, and I want to say this the right way where it sounds right, but it's more of the guy helping and dealing with the wife in the worst cases. And I don't want to do that again. And have her go through that again. No, because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because
I know it's a lot.
The mood up and down sometimes. They need a break. 2 kids are going crazy, and I'm always thinking, no, I don't want to bring another one because we're almost past this. My daughter's 3, just 3 more years. We're in the and I don't want to start over. I don't want to start over again.
You're tired.
I don't want to. Yeah,
I'm on the wait list for a vasectomy right now.
Are you?
Stop,
there's a
really?
wait list.
There's a wait list.
Where I'm at with my insurance, there's a wait list. I'm with Kaiser for insurance, and there's a wait list. There's so many dudes over at Kaiser that want a vasectomy right now that there's a wait list. So I'm like due in May. I'm doing May.
Oh, you're
doing May. I love
when
it.
does she do?
What? Yeah. When
My
is she
wife's
due?
due in June, and I'm due in May.
Now, are you? I haven't even looked into that, but are you nervous? Or I mean, they do it all. It's
They can reverse it.
They
also,
can?
yeah, you can reverse it.
I didn't hear.
So it's not a full commitment.
But I heard they can, but it's not.
They can, but
best.
they can't. They said in some cases they said if you're on the fence thinking, I had to watch video tutorials and I had to go in and sign paperwork so they could witness me signing it in person, because it's like they're snipping you.
Yeah, I've always had trouble
What's that?
saying like I want to do that because you never look. I think I'm gonna be married to my wife forever.
Yeah.
But you never know what's gonna happen in the future.
You might want to make babies at 75 with someone else. You don't know.
Never know. Never know.
I told my wife, I go, I'm content with 2. I only have room in my heart for 2 and you.
Oh, so you steal
what,
that.
I'm
Steal
gonna
it.
tell that. Only have room in my heart for 2 in you. I'm stealing that to my wife. When she says, let's do a 3rd baby, 2 in you. That's it.
2 and you.
That's romantic.
I don't know.
And then do that. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Kissing.
You. That's
As I
very
walk out the
Italian of
door.
you, Jeremiah. I love that. I don't know. I nannied for a big pop star's 3 kids. And I feel like a 3rd is just, I don't know. I think you could do 3. I think you both could do 3. Once you have 2, you could add a 3rd.
I'm going to get on that wait list, that Kaiser wait list.
Yeah, right?
Get on that Kaiser wait list. Make it happen. Daddy is the special. You got so many things going. How can people find you? How can people reach you and all those cool things?
I'm at Jeremiah Stand Up on social media. If you want to come see me live, jeremiahwatkins.com. I'm about to be in New York City on April 4th doing a stand up on the spot taping out there. And every second Tuesday of the month we do stand up on the spot at the Comedy Store. So
Have you been out to the new Ice House yet?
I haven't yet. I've heard good things though.
Dude, I'm so excited. I'll be out there. If you want to, I'll be out there April 21st. I'm sure at the Comedy Store. But if you're in the area, man, pop by, man. I'm excited because I live in Las Vegas. I'm excited to check it out. So I'm doing 2 shows there on a Friday night.
Awesome.
So let me know.
It's going to be hot.
Yep. All right, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Daddy is the special YouTube. Go watch it. It's funny. It's hilarious. And make sure you check him out live. One of the good guys in the biz. So we appreciate
love you, Jeremiah.
bro.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
All right, man. Later.
Ciao.